This is Diane here. Most of you probably know me from church back when we used to be able to do that in person, and also from Vacation Bible Camp, Virtual Vacation Bible Camp, and Virtual Bible Palooza when I did videos for the arts and crafts activities. It can be a lot of fun. Hopefully, we'll be able to meet in person for church activities before too much longer. But until then, at least we are able to meet through Zoom, computers, and the internet and videos, and we can learn about God, Jesus, and the Bible, and to worship together on Sundays and Wednesday evenings. This time, I'm going to show you how to make an Advent wreath. Advent is the first season of the church year, and it starts 4 Sundays before Christmas and ends on Christmas Eve. This year, it starts on Sunday, November 29th. It's the first Sunday after Thanksgiving, which happens most but not all years. And again, it ends on December 24th, Christmas Eve. If you want to learn more about Advent and the meaning of the different parts of an Advent wreath, I will be giving the children's message on Sunday, November 29th, and during the worship service. And I hope you'll be there. And I also hope you'll bring your Advent wreaths and are ready to light them during the service. Next, I want to tell you about the materials that you'll need for the Advent wreath, most of which were in the bags that you will have gotten from the church. First, you will need a styrofoam wreath. I have 2 of them because I will be making 2 wreaths to show 2 different variations. Next, you will need evergreens. I have lots more than this in a pile over here on my table. Then you will need these kind of pins, metal pins, that you use to attach the greens to the styrofoam. Be careful, they're sharp. Next, you will need 4 candles. 3 of them are purple and 1 pink. For some of you, you may have, at your request, have gotten votive battery candles, which for some people might be a safer alternative than the flames of a candle. And for those, if you've requested those, you also got some construction paper to wrap around them to turn them into purple and pink candles, like this one was already done. In addition, optional items are ribbon, which you can wrap around the outside of your Advent wreath, similar to the way this one is, and pin it in place, the ribbon in place, if you want the side of your wreath to be decorated with ribbon. Otherwise, you'll decorate the side with more evergreens. And also, you will have gotten in your bag of materials from the church some decorative items that you can decorate your Advent wreath, such as this little horn and little gifts, and there's an assortment of them. Those are optional. You can add them if you want or not, if you prefer not to, or add as many or as few as you want, depending on how many you've got. In addition to all of that, if you want, you can add optionally items from your own home. For instance, other decorative items, maybe you have something you'd like to add, or in my case, I'm going to add a white candle for the center of my Advent wreath, which will be lit on Christmas Eve, called the Christ candle. Now, you can see that my white candle is not very tall. And so what I will do, for safety's sake, is sit it on top of something inside in the center of my wreath so that it's not quite so close to the evergreens, and we don't want to start a fire. and when the candle is lit. However, this candle doesn't get lit till Christmas Eve. So that's another optional thing. If you want to have one, you can, or not. You can buy a candle, or if you have something, a white candle at home, you can use that. Now, before we go any farther, I'd like to talk about safety concerns. There are two main, well, maybe three main issues. One is the pins that you use to hold the greenery to the wreath are sharp. You can hurt yourself with them, so be careful. The other is that the votive candles, they're battery operated, have small batteries that can be taken out of the bottom. Some children, young children, will swallow just about anything, and that could be a very dangerous thing. So make sure and keep them out of the reach of young children when not, constantly supervising the wreath, the use of the wreath. The other thing is the candles, the regular candles that most of you will be using, will be lit. And not all the time, but at times during the Advent season. Lit means flames, and flames mean fire. And fire can be very dangerous if it's not carefully supervised. So I'm asking very strongly that they be supervised when lit by an adult at all times. It's we don't want to see anything tragic happen. Okay, now we're going to go on to making of the wreath. Okay, the first thing that we're going to be doing for the people who are using the real candles is making the holes in the styrofoam to hold the candles. Now, I've done two of the holes already. I don't know if you can see them, but by pressing down, you don't want to break the candle and you don't want to break the wreath, but they're both pretty sturdy, especially if you hold the candle near the bottom. You've got put it on top of the wreath and push. Now, notice the pink candle. It might appear more white because of the way the lighting is in here, but it is a pale pink. Okay, now I'm going to add the two that I don't have holes for, so I'm going to make the holes. You want a hole at the top, at the bottom, at the left and at the right, approximately evenly spaced. It doesn't have to be perfect, the best you can. So I'm going to make the hole for this one. Push. You can hear the crunching of the styrofoam. You want it to go down probably at least an inch into the styrofoam so it stays up. You don't want the candles tipping over, especially when they're burning. And, you want them to be held steadily. There's another crunch. And all these candles seem to be pretty sturdy. Okay, now the next thing is for the people who are using the votive candles. Now, the two wreaths that I'm making, the one without the ribbon that I just put the candles in, will be for me and my husband and daughter, who all live together. And the one that I'm going to show you now, with ribbon around the outside, is going to be for my son and his wife and children. And I chose to do ribbon on this one because I think that my grandchild, who's 3 years old, will like the colorful ribbon. Now, for them, I'm going to provide the votive candles. I think it's a little safer than the lit candles. And so I think it's a good idea when I have a grandchild who's 3 years old. But of course, my son and daughter-in-law have to watch out to make sure that he doesn't try and eat the batteries. Okay, you can see this first votive candle. I already have purple, construction paper taped around it to turn it into a purple candle. These candles will be just sitting on top of the styrofoam, but we won't put them there permanently until after the greens are added. I've cut some pieces of construction paper to put around the other candles. Tape, a little bit of tape, wrap it around. And another piece of tape, and it's done. If you wrap it tightly, it won't fall off, especially if you tape it at the beginning. So that's the second purple candle. Now the third purple candle. Tape. Wrap it around. Another piece of tape. It's done. And then to make a pink candle, now you just need to cut the pieces of construction paper to an appropriate size, and you might make yours higher or lower or whatever you want compared to mine. You know, you can always adjust if needed. Okay, so you can see on my pink and purple votive candles that I have the construction paper sticking up a little higher than the side of the candle. That was my choice, but you can make your own choices. Now I have the 4 candles ready to go, but they won't permanently be put onto the wreath until after we get the greens on. So now I'm going to start with the greens, and this is like somewhat of a time-consuming job. You take the pins and you take pieces of greenery and you poke the pins down to hold the greenery in place. The greenery that you were given, you can cut it smaller or larger. You can bend it around, whatever seems to be necessary for you to get yours to come out the way you want it. This one I'm kind of curving greenery around, and you can layer layers of greenery on top of each other so it gives it a fuller and more covered appearance. Okay, you can see that I'm making progress. It's not done yet. I'm trying to get all the white styrofoam covered and just make it to look what I consider to be pretty. So I'll keep going, and I'll be back to see you when this one's finished. Now, I pretty much got the greenery done on this one. If you feel that there's some parts where the greenery is sticking out in a way that you don't like, get a pair of scissors and do some trimming. Or otherwise you can use additional pins to kind of bend it into place. Now, I'll be setting the candles around this wreath. Remember, these are the votive candles. And then, if I want, I can add some of the decorative items, and I think I'll add a couple of decorative items because I think my grandson would like them. So let's see, I'm going to add a horn. And a different kind of horn. And maybe some pine cones. Not sure if those are real pine cones, but it doesn't matter. so this one's finished. When it's lit, you just take the votive candle, there's a little black switch on the bottom, and turn on whatever number of candles you're supposed to turn on that particular week. And you can see how it will work. Okay, next we're going to go on and do the one with the real candles. So you can see how that one works. Okay, now we're going to be adding the greenery to a candle to a wreath with the candles. So I like to do it with the candles in place. You can also do it with the candles taken out, but then you have to make sure and leave room for the candles to slide into the places where they belong. So let's start here. This is my favorite way to do an Advent wreath. I like the kind with all greenery all over. But people have different opinions, and you have to do what works for you. Okay, you can see I'm coming along on this. It's well on its way, but not yet done. There's still some more to do. Just as a reminder, this candle, which in the video probably looks white, is actually pink, and probably the same as the candles that you have in your set of materials. I'll see you again in a minute when I have finished this. Okay, I've got the greens on this one. I'll spin it around and show you how it looks. Remember that pink candle's pink, even if it doesn't look that way in the video. Now, my husband and I actually prefer the all-natural look, so we're not going to add any of the extra decorations. But whether you do or not depends on what you like. You can see that I've added my Christ candle in the middle, and it's sitting on a stack of spools of ribbon so that to raise it a little higher, so it's a little bit safer. I hope that you'll enjoy making your Advent wreath, and there'll be a group that does it on Zoom together on Saturday afternoon, and the details of that are on the paper stapled to the bag of materials that you will have received. I'll see you soon. Bye now.